Okay, so your secondary weapons. Your aegis for your warrior, your gun for your mage, and your bow for your rogue. You don't want those to have good stats, like awakenings. You don't want those to have overpowered awakes. That's just completely wasting your gold. You may ask why do you want to have like bad stats on these, or gold loot? You're not going to be using them to damage, you're using them to get procs. You're using your main weapon, which is axe, staff, and your daggers as your damaging weapon. The weapon you'll be doing most damage with, your skills and everything. The aegis is just a secondary proc. The gun and bow are both secondary. You're not going to be using them as main weapons. It'd be really hard to, and annoying to, but don't know why you would, but use these as your main weapons. So with these two on, it's 600% damage with these both proc. And I will show you in the map an example why I always proc aegis before axe on bosses. And you should proc your bow and your gun on bosses before you proc your staff for daggers. So first, I proc my axe, and then you see me switch to aegis. I'm wasting all my damage there, and then once I go to that, the axe proc is already gone. I'm just stuck on aegis proc. But if I proc my aegis, the axe will always have 100% proc rate. So as soon as I proc my aegis, I go to my axe and it's instantly procced. And see, both will wear off at the same time, doing the most amount of damage possible. So if you proc your staff first and then go to your gun, the staff doesn't have a dot, which is damage over time, like the gun and the bow. And daggers don't have that as well. So, and plus you have to proc your gun by shooting enemies. It doesn't proc off a damage like the staff and the daggers do. So if you proc your gun first, or your bow, it has a dot. That dot is hitting the enemies or the bosses mainly. Don't use it on piles of enemies, it's pointless. But that dot helps your main weapon proc faster. So if you proc your gun on a boss that's taking damage, you switch to your staff. It procs your staff faster. And then once your staff procs, that gun dot is going to do a whole lot more damage. And then the same thing for the bow and the daggers. But if it's a group of enemies and you're a warrior, proc your axe first and go to your aegis, and then back to axe. Or if you're in Maw's museum, proc your axe and then go to Bon Aegis if you're under purple orbs. Damage reduction. Now this is for warriors only. Your vest. You see I have two of them. Level 71, level 76 arc vests. The reason for this is I use them for different loadouts. Chasmal vest, it procs while doing damage. Keyword doing damage. Those are the two keywords. You put that only on the set you're doing the most damage with. This set you're using all your skills with and focused on mainly damage, not proccing. With a Bond vest, for Dozer Aegis, Saban Aegis, and whatever. That procs while taking in damage, and when you're proccing your Bond Aegis and your Dozer Aegis, your only focus is proccing those, getting as many procs as you can. You're not focused on doing damage until you switch back to your axe. And then for my loadout where I pull enemies, I just put a Mire Vest because it's pointless to proc either of those two while doing Terror Blade. Terror Blade is just a pull weapon. It isn't for damage. So 2600 damage would turn into like, so if that vest proc 300% damage, I think that'll be 7800 damage if the vest proc. That's not a lot of damage, it's crap. if you proc your axe, your aegis, and a vest, that's 80,000 damage. Well, for me it is. For others, it's going to range differently.